They broke the internet. Elon Musk, Donald Trump did an interview last night, broke the internet, and people are losing their minds. Stick around to find out more. Well, the interview between Elon Musk and Donald Trump was incredibly successful. Despite some setbacks, it has done very well as far as numbers. Musk says combined views of the conversation with Donald Trump and subsequent discussions by other accounts now over 1 billion. And that was at 1:43 a.m. So the numbers since then have certainly increased. So to say the least, Musk and Trump broke the internet. So as you could imagine, the Harris-Walz campaign was not happy with the interview while it was going on. Here's what they said. Right now, Elon Musk is interviewing Donald Trump live on Twitter. We're not calling it X. It's not enough that Musk has pledged to donate millions of dollars to help re-elect Trump. He's using his Purchase platform, one of the largest social media sites in the world, to spread Trump's unhinged and hateful agenda to millions of users. If that's all you need to hear, chip in $25 now to help Kamala and Tim have the resources to respond to their lies. Otherwise, let us remind you why this is a big deal. The richest person in the world is a lackey for Team MAGA. Musk already ruined Twitter by allowing hate speech and disinformation to flood the platform. Now, Musk is using his vast fortune and broad reach to try to control our democracy. And then after the interview was over, here's what they said. Donald Trump's extremism and dangerous Project 2025 agenda is a feature, not a glitch, of his campaign, which was on full display for those unlucky enough to listen in tonight during whatever that was on X. I guess they decided to call it X now. Trump's entire campaign is in service of people like Elon Musk and himself, self-obsessed rich guys who will sell out the middle class and who cannot run a live stream in the year 2024. Ooh, burn. Well, in reference to the difficulties involved in the stream that they mentioned there, Elon Musk actually said this before the interview took place. It appears to be a massive DDoS attack on X. Working on shutting it down. Worst case, we will proceed with a smaller number of live listeners and post the conversation later. So for those who are not familiar with DDoS, here's a definition. A distributed denial of service, or DDoS, attack is a malicious attempt to disrupt the normal operations of a server by flooding it with high levels of fake traffic that prevents regular users from accessing the network. And I can certainly say that there was difficulty getting into the server because I remember logging on early on, probably 30 minutes before the advertised time for the interview. And I was listening to waiting music. I ended up refreshing my screen and that then kicked me out. I tried to get back in and I was having difficulty getting back in. I finally was able to get back into the stream and there was a very long delay. And I was wondering why. But this explains it. There was a DDoS attack on X's servers. Who could that be? Well, we did see the European Union threatening Elon Musk due to this interview. They sent him a very nasty letter threatening him if he transgresses certain bounds with the interview with Trump. As you can see, it's a pretty lengthy letter, but effectively they're saying that if he does not comply with the Digital Services Act in his interview with Trump, then they are going to use everything within their toolbox or arsenal to come against Elon Musk. And so they sent him this nasty bit. I do wonder if they send this to terrorists in the UK as well. But they did send this to a private American citizen, interestingly enough. They also broke the hearts of many liberals.
For the on the shoulder, to adjust the microphone as you told, man. For their gracious aid throughout
I am so sorry to my world. I am so sorry to my world. This is not what we want.
Watch this, where a news reporter asks the White House in advance to suppress the interview between Trump and Musk due to concerns related to misinformation.
Elon Musk is slated to interview Donald Trump tonight on X. I don't know if the president is going to tune in. Feel free to say if he is or not. But I think that misinformation on Twitter is not just a campaign issue. It's a America issue. What role does the White House or the president have in sort of stopping that, or stopping the spread of that, or sort of intervening in that? Some of that was about campaign misinformation, but it's a wider thing, right?
Yeah, no, and you've heard us talk about this many times from here, about the responsibilities that social media platforms have when it comes to misinformation, disinformation. Don't have anything to read out from here about specific ways that we're working on it, but we believe that they have the responsibility. These are private companies, so we're also mindful of that too.
The irony, since when does the White House care about misinformation? And so now they're in the business of censoring people whenever they say something that they don't like. I wonder how that works with the First Amendment. Well, as you could imagine, legacy media is very upset with this interview because it exposes a lot of things that they don't want out there. Musk shares on his social media various headlines that are reacting to the interview, very predictable. Trump rambles, slurs his way through Elon Musk interview. Kamala Harris's campaign criticizes Trump for serving self-obsessed rich guys after interview with Elon Musk. Donald Trump's lisp during Elon Musk's interview raises questions. So Donald chatted with Elon, and here's the future as they see it. Losers win, incompetence rules. No bias there. Musk's Trump talk on X. After glitchy start, a 2-hour ramble. The Musk-Trump X interview, a surprisingly dull meeting of two planet-sized egos. Familiar vitriol and Musk the enabler. Key takeaways from Trump's X interview. Donald Trump and Elon Musk's X conversation took forever to start, then never ended. So you can see, again, legacy media is very biased. And one of the reasons why is the interview on X got more attention in the media than all of those outlets combined in one day. This shows that legacy media is dead. Now, the interview is 2 hours long, so we're not going to go through the whole thing today. I'm just going to go over a few highlight clips. I already posted it right here on the channel, so just go and check out that video if you want to see the whole thing.
I mean, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing, and I have to say that your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. You, instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, the president of the United States represents America. And I think that is America. That is strength under fire. And so that's, a big, part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant.
Not pleasant.
I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very, I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. I was telling somebody you have instances like this, or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation, and I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear.
Yeah.
And because it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, bullets, bullets, get down, because I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly. And we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter. And so it hit me at an angle that was far less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was, for those people that don't believe in God, I think we got to all start thinking about that. You have to, I'm a believer. Now I'm more of a believer, I think. And a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have said that to me, actually.
Well, I don't know. He seems kind of the same to me. But we can certainly hope that experience is bringing him closer to God.
Would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but that but we also need to shut down illegal immigration, and especially unvetted illegal immigration, because and that's not the same as saying that everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell the difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that?
They have to come in legally. They have to be checked.
Yeah.
Because look, Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible. No tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. They had not only tax on tips, but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you, and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible. And I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job in the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had, I believe, and I think you believe this too, you hear 12 million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country, many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is insane asylums, and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you look at, it's so sad, October 7th, because it should have never happened.
Yeah.
It's so sad when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they won't do anything. It's all talk. She's incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something, because he's not too good.
Yeah. No, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a secure border. And
secure elections.
Yeah, absolutely, secure elections. And so it's just essential to have a real border, or we can't function as a country, and our service, our essential services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities. But I, as we were talking about earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that is smooth and efficient and done well, and I, speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant, I think that. I mean, like, one way to think of it is, who do you want on your team? Who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to let in people who are going to, be great contributors to our society and to our economy, and and who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like, in my opinion, actually, I'd say, like, probably most of the illegal immigrants actually are actually good, hardworking people. That's my opinion. But some are not, and you just have this sort of adverse selection process where, if somebody's, if somebody's like has a career in theft or robbery, I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here, because we're in such a target-rich environment. I mean, why aren't more people who have a career in, bad things coming here sooner? Because it's a piece of cake to go rob, houses in LA or New York, compared to other parts of the world. And in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, you'll be arrested. So it's insane.
It's right. I mean, what's happening with crime? And our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I hate to say it, because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them. As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and they're delivering them into.
But that's what Castro did.
Yeah, well, he did on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
It was a much smaller scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. This is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be.
Yeah.
And I saw it today in New York where somebody was knifed, where they raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters and started pulling out the knives, and bad things happen today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for murder and all sorts of things. And they're releasing them into our country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people. And it's horrible what they do. And she's in charge of it because, now she's trying to say she had nothing to do with it. And she's such a liar because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went there. She went to one location which had nothing to do with where the problem is. She went in and out, I guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure, but had nothing to do with the problem is. But she was the border czar, and people can't allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known what happened. You could shut the border down. He wouldn't even know the difference. But the fact is that she was border czar. But if you don't have to call her that, the fact is you could just call her. She was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst ever.
It's simply not working.
No, it's horrible.
Whether it's a question of intention or competence, either way, we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie apocalypse at times. And sometimes you got to sort of wonder, like, is it real or not? So because you see things, you're like, is it real? So I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like seeing this in real time. I actually posted the video like just live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, and I have to say, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly. These are people can look at my video and say, hey, these people look friendly. They don't look super friendly. So
these are people that Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And, the caravans are coming in, and they're putting, and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them. But these are people that are non-productive. They are just non-productive. I mean, for whatever reason, they're not workers, or they don't want to work, or whatever. And these countries are getting rid of non-productive people in the caravans in many cases. And they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are really brutal people. And they're coming into our country at levels that have never been seen before.
Well, you get the idea. The conversation goes on much longer. I put a link in the show notes to the full video. Go and watch it. I want to hear from you. What did you think about this? Put your comments there in the comment section. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button. Be sure to also check out my playlist for much more great content. Until next time.